You telling me you didn't get none of this put in your name? Huh? You didn't get none of this? You didn't get none of this put in your name? At no point in how many kids you got now? And you couldn't get not one property, like nothing put in your name? This not gonna help those rental allegations. I'll be honest, this not gonna help that. Shout out to all of the subscribers and the members here on the channel. Don't forget to like the video. My name is Reese Waters, and I'm trouble. Hey, France, this you? French President Emmanuel Macron and his wife hired Private Eye to dig into Candace Owens. French President Macron and his wife Brigitte reportedly hired a private investigator to dig into American podcaster Candace Owens before suing her over claims they describe as baseless and defamatory, including the allegation that the First Lady was born a male. The decision to commission the research shows how seriously the couple is taking their legal battle, a rare move for a sitting head of state to take against an online influencer, according to Financial Times. The probe, which was carried out by Manhattan-based Nardello & Co., compiled information about Owens' political ties and public statements, according to details shared with the FT. Investigators documented her connections to far-right figures in France, Britain, and the U.S., along with examples of her coverage in Russia state-run media. Je ne sais pas. Je ne sais pas. S'il vous plaît, le petit déjeuner. C'est la vie. Voulez-vous coucher avec moi? France, I didn't study your language and your culture for a decade for you to ignore, bruh, at a time like this. I mean, really. I'm right here. You going all the way to Nardello & Co. Who knows what they charge you? You know what I mean? They probably charge you them Byron Donalds prices. They got you on the Byron Erica Donalds invoice plan, okay? And I could have did it for the low. You know what I mean? I could have did it for the low. I've been here this whole time. I tell you everything you need to know. We can start with that NAACP lawsuit that she refuses to even acknowledge. Oh yeah, I bet Nardello didn't have this. I get you that good. How about the president of the NAACP and Candace Owens at a press conference in 2007 as Owens returned to Stanford High School after being a victim of an alleged hate crime. Meanwhile, she's gone on record to declare she never experienced racism a day in her life. Did Nardello get you that? Huh? Did Nardello get you that? And then the turn from I never experienced racism a day in my life, despite the fact I have a whole NAACP lawsuit. Next thing we know, she testifying on Congress, talking about the culture is the biggest thing afflicting Black America.
You know that white supremacy and white nationalism ranks nowhere near the top of the issues that are facing Black America.
Yeah, she don't want nothing to do with no white nationalism or nothing. Nothing to do with no racism. And she has never met a victim of crime, a Black victim of crime, that she will not prosecute. All the way down to, she didn't realize she did a whole George Floyd documentary. She did a whole George Floyd documentary, and that was around the time that she was walking around with Kanye and the White Lives Matter shirts and all that. And she was running. You know what I mean? Some people limp, some people walk. She was running towards white supremacy. She was sprinting like you about to see in the World Championships. She was sprinting towards white supremacy, leading her to become a star in the right-wing world as Daily Wire was backing her, all the way up through that whole Kamala Harris expose that she did trying to expose Kamala Harris's blackness.
What did Janet Jackson say? She said that she heard that Kamala's father, Donald J. Harris, was Irish.
Yeah, that's right. Somehow, in this world, we let Candace Owens challenge somebody else's blackness. Howard alum who crossed the Divine Nine, no less, challenged by Candace Owens. We let that hold. The same Candace Owens that was crying with Amber Rose talking about they don't get accepted.
I've tortured myself with this stuff, and I begged and I've cried and pleaded, please reach for the stars. Even if, go talk to maybe more conservative brands, see if they'll give me a chance. They wouldn't give me a chance.
Mm-hmm. The same Candace Owens. And by the way, that was before MAGA threw Amber Rose in the trash. Which, by the way, is going to become a theme. See, I bet Nardello didn't have that. I bet Nardello didn't give you none of that. And I'm giving you all this just off the cuff. I'm giving you all of this for free. Speaking of thrown in the garbage, that's exactly what happened with her and Daily Wire. And then she tried to leave and just go clear her head. So she went on a speaking tour, and New Zealand was like, not here. And she was like, all right, fine, I'll just slide over to Australia. They was like, I can't even do it. They were like, I can't even do it, player. You know what I mean? I just, nah. We can't. Ban from whole countries. Ban from whole countries. Now that led her to turn back around to the United States. And not only did she turn back around to the United States, she tried to turn back around on the Black community. She sent the "Hey Big Head" text. She sent that when she was on the plane. They had to turn her plane back around from New Zealand, Australia. They sent the plane back around. She sent the "Hey Big Head" text to Black America to try and come back. But that failed when she didn't know how to respond to "God is good."
God is good.
God is good. Amen.
No.
Yeah, she didn't know how to respond to "God is good," and she completely butchered the intro to Fresh Prince.
Chilling out, maxing, relaxing, all cool and all, shooting some b-ball outside of school. When a couple of guys, they were up to no good, started making trouble in my neighborhood.
Brother, what's that?
Which is like, that's low-hanging fruit. You know what I mean? That's low-hanging fruit. You know what I mean? It's not like they asked her where you keep the shopping bags after you get back from the grocery store. They didn't ask her none of that. They didn't ask her, do you rinse off the bowl or glass out of the cabinet before you use it? They didn't ask her no deep cuts. You know what I mean? This ain't nothing but Fresh Prince and God is good. And God is so bad. She got it so bad. Even the Black MAGAs have turned on her. Yeah, even the Black MAGAs have turned on her. I decided to weigh in on the Macron versus Owens lawsuit. Candace claimed I stole campaign funds 5 years ago. Obviously, she was wrong. I dismissed the case knowing I couldn't prove malice. She's great at playing dumb. This from Kimberly Klasick. Now, that's funny. All of a sudden, they got so much to say now, but you was quiet earlier. We was all glad-handing Candace earlier. You know what I mean? This is no different than the Laura Loomer, Marjorie Taylor Greene fight. Except for the Arby's part. Yeah, she didn't bring up Arby's. That makes this distinctly different in that regard. But I wonder what all of a sudden is different. Could it be that she turned on Trump? That's right, she did turn on Trump. Now, didn't she?
So if Trump is aligning himself with the people that didn't support him, and the people that did support him are saying what he's doing is wrong, that doesn't mean that MAGA betrayed Trump. That means that Trump is betraying MAGA, okay? MAGA is a term, make America great again. And it was because the American people felt like our country was in a steep decline while we were being told that we had to build up every other country with programs. We had to spread democracy in the Middle East. That's been a remarkable failure. And at the same time, our veterans are coming home and they're being treated like crap. We talked about the farmers. We talked about the ranchers. That was the vision that Donald Trump painted that made me get behind him. And I took a lot of bullets for that. And I still don't regret voting for him against Kamala Harris because I still believe he was a better candidate. But this is a betrayal, plain and simple. There's no other way to say that.
Now, if we really want to keep it a buck, her turning on Trump isn't so much a full stance. It's not a principled position that she's taking, nor more so than the fact that like a lot of the black MAGAs, she didn't get a spot in the cabinet. No, she got left on the outside looking in with her mouth open, standing in between Byron Donalds and Tim Scott. That is exactly what happened. But really, it's probably just a matter of time before she turns back, because she is not somebody who's not above changing her opinion. Just look at how she did AI.
Right? This is being pushed on us that like the future is AI. The future is artificial intelligence. Why are they pushing artificial intelligence on people? Is because, well, maybe it's right there in the name. They want you to be intelligent artificially. It's a veneer. You're not actually intelligent. You might be an idiot, but then I use the software that Xavier Poussard introduced me to, the World Economic Forum's Face++ software that he used to show that Brigitte Macron and Jean-Michel Trogneau. It's a really good software. And the more that I use it, the more familiar I am with how it works. And not to be mindful of that, but to forcefully reject these tech lords. I don't know how this software works, but I've learned to trust it. No chance. I am so off the AI train. I really trust that software, and it only further commits me to Xavier Poussard's research, which is that Brigitte Macron lived as Jean-Michel Trogneau. And that software has proven to me that she really has.
Now, I'll be honest. I was very skeptical of AI myself right up until China started blasting us with those memes. When China started blasting us with those memes, and then we got, what was it? The foot licking video. Yeah. That's the way to my heart. That is the way to my heart. Huh? Feet. I'm not ready to talk about that. Now, for those that are looking for an update in the case in general.
Calling the case of France versus Candace Owens. Roll the clip, please.
Emmanuel Macron and Brigitte are saying, you know what? We don't like that podcaster in America. And we are going to launch a lawsuit that's never been launched before, an unprecedented lawsuit to impoverish her for speaking. And both J.D. Vance and Trump have not issued a statement.
Yes, Candace, they're coming to take your podcast mic and your MacBook Pro. Follow me here. You were popping it online a couple days ago. I'm talking about you were on Brigitte Macron's head top. You doubled down after the lawsuit was filed. You said she was born a man and she will die a man.
You were born a man and you will die a man.
You said you didn't want the case to get dismissed because you wanted to see what evidence they have to deny your claims. Now you're talking about they're trying to impoverish me and you didn't believe and you can't believe that the president didn't step in. Huh? You thought the president was going to step in and get involved in your personal defamation lawsuit with the president of France and his wife? The same president of France and his wife, mind you, who told you multiple times to cut it out, sent you paperwork saying your claims weren't true, and you kept going. And the gag is, if you really wanted to go in on Brigitte Macron, there's plenty you could have talked about. That's the real, how did Brigitte Macron meet her husband? Hello? There's a whole lot of tea there, but you picked this angle calling her a man because you knew that that's a hot button conversation in the United States right now. Then you went on Tucker Carlson talking about you don't want the lawsuit dismissed. Let's turn our thinking caps on. That's illogical. Now you're facing off against another wealthy family. You and your husband have coins, of course. You're successful. You are a popular content creator. But I don't know if you got Brigitte Macron and their money. And they've hired a serious top dog law firm. They are coming. My recommendation to you as a judge in this case, have a conversation with opposing counsel. Figure out how to cut your losses. Next case.
And here's exactly where she went wrong.
Candace, girl. Candace Owens is getting sued for $250 million, but she's allegedly only worth $5 million. She's getting sued by the president of France and his wife because she forgot the 2 words that protect every loudmouth with a microphone. Allegedly, and in my opinion. So here's the setup, right? She put out an 8-part series on YouTube claiming that Brigitte Macron, the first lady of France, was actually born a man. Why? She never said there's speculation. She never said some people believe. She stated it like she had seen her birth certificate, like she had some sort of notarized proof. She even added bonus conspiracy theories talking about incest and mind control. She sold merch, and she kept going after the Macrons told her to stop. Multiple times, they told her to stop. And now she's facing a 22-count defamation lawsuit in Delaware. But here's the thing people miss. When you speak publicly, especially to millions of people, you're either stating fact or you're giving opinion. And the law treats those two completely differently. Facts, if they're false and harmful, then that is defamation. Opinions are protected speech. But you have to make it clear to your audience that these are your opinions and not factual statements. That's where allegedly and in my opinion come in. They don't just magically make something true or false. They signal to everyone, including a jury, especially a jury that what you're presenting is not verified fact. It's the difference between commentary and a lawsuit that you can't afford. Candace didn't just skip the disclaimer. She bulldozed right over it and kept on going. Now that is called actual malice, and it's the fastest way to lose your First Amendment protection. In the commentary world, those two little words are like your seatbelt, right? You can still drive fast, you can still take corners hard if you want to. But without them, one wrong turn, and you're flying through the windshield straight into a courtroom. A Candace girl, you in trouble.
I'm gonna have to re-edit my videos. Yeah, I'm just have to intersplice allegedly in between all of the words. You know what I mean? Almost like you know what I mean? Like when you shuffle a deck, I'm just gonna have to throw like every other word. But it's not as if people didn't try and warn her. Even Piers Morgan called her out for her nonsense with Brigitte Macron. And Piers Morgan has never met some drama that he won't exploit.
Why you would pursue this so aggressively. One, you've been duped by these French journalists. And secondly, worse, that you kind of know it's not true, but you've ridden the wave of conspiracy theory about it because it's been so lucrative and it's gone around the world, like you've been saying. And I think that is why they're suing you, because ultimately they know that you've been amplifying this massively more than the journalists had in France, getting way more global traction. And it boils down to one simple fact, not photographs, as you keep trying to distract me with, but a sex test. If on day one of this case, she just produces an actual sex test report that says she's a woman, you're going to realize in that moment you've been completely duped. What do you do then?
Piers, I'm not concerned about it because, like I said, it's been about 10 years and Brigitte could have done that at any moment. She's been in multiple lawsuits, involved in lawsuits, trying to shut journalists up.
Now, the word that stuck out to me that was doing a lot of the heavy lifting and that from Piers Morgan was lucrative. That's right, lucrative. What say you, Candace?
Got an estimate this weekend from a legal team. It is going to cost us millions. I don't have that money. I really don't. I got to tell you, like, the estimate that we got, and I want to be clear, this is if it goes all the way through. So they said, like, from start to finish, if they don't drop this at some point, blah, 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 here's how much it's going to cost you just to get through the deposition phase. Here's how much it's going to cost you to go all the way through. And they are estimating $5 million. It's like a lot of money. And we do not have that money just laying around. So I thought we could actually sell some t-shirts. I just picture people wearing this like at the grocery store, like walking by each other, and like, we know what it means, like hashtag free Emmanuel. It's like subtle enough. I really like this, free Emmanuel. You're going to see somebody wearing a t-shirt and be like, we know what's up. We know what's going on in France. Somebody rescue Emmanuel Macron. I'm not kidding. The estimate is millions of dollars.
Now, Candace, you out here trying to sell t-shirts in order to cover, because you the one that said you can't wait for discovery. That's right. She went from I can't wait for discovery to please buy my t-shirts. Now, I could think of some t-shirts that would do numbers related to Candace Owens, but you ain't gonna like them. Oh, we got an order right there. See, I told you. You could do numbers with some Candace Owens t-shirts, but you ain't gonna like them. And I'll tell you this, because, you know, I try to have some integrity about this, because I'd offered my services. I'll be honest, I offered my services to the French about the investigation thing, because I was going to undercut Nardello. I ain't tell him everything, though. I ain't telling him about how you was crying foul about the Daily Wire and how they was sullying your name and do nothing. And I kept the baby shower photo. I didn't send him that. So I ain't tell him everything. But I could. But what I'm saying is I'm offering my services. You know what I mean? I offer my services. I can design some t-shirts. I got merch on my website. I can definitely do that. But this whole thing about you ain't got it. Are you sure you ain't got it? Here goes some screenshots of Candace Owens' reported real estate portfolio, to which she claims, I've never been to Belgium, Morocco, or Nebraska, to find out I actually own territory there is the most wonderful surprise. Please, Nathan, drop the addresses so I can pack up my darling children straight away. Can you please list your source? Because I swear I only own one home in Tennessee. I feel like I just found out I'm a long lost princess. Please say that this is true. Now, Candace, one of two things is true. Either you are being completely dishonest about this, which that's what you're being accused of. So I can't say that that's beyond the pale. Either that or you telling me you didn't get none of this put in your name? Huh? You didn't get none of this? You didn't get none of this put in your name? At no point in how many kids you got now? And you couldn't get not one property, like nothing put in your name? This not going to help those rental allegations. I'll be honest. This not going to help that. You know what I mean? Because they be saying some wild stuff about how y'all got together. You know what I mean? And this not going to help that at all. I'll be honest. And this is coming out of your own mouth. I just need to know how all these assets are being reported and you are playing dumb. I mean, either take your pick. You take your pick. Now, granted, and obviously I know that you are very, you are one to change your position on a great number of things, like how you calling out for Trump to help you in this situation. Candace Owens in 4 stages. Laughs off Macron's lawsuit. I'm confident in my well-sourced reporting. I have nothing to worry about. Trump is a genocidal traitor and should be removed from office for treason. Please, Trump, save me now.
The more that I think about it, the more absurd it is. Now, the Trump administration, who purports to care about free speech, that was what they ran on. Of course, they're not doing any of that stuff anymore. They're creating DEI for Israel and pushing through laws to redefine anti-Semitism. But they pretended to care about free speech. And you had J.D. Vance, who went over there to Europe and gave a whole speech, tisk to all of you European leaders that are no longer listening to what your constituents want and are instead punishing them for their speech. If the majority of your constituents think something, you can't create laws and punish them. Right? That was kind of the gist of his speech. The markets have decided what they want, and now you're punishing these people. That's crazy, he said. America's going to be a leader. We don't believe in this. We won't support this. Then you have a literal European leader that is basically saying F you to the American Constitution.
That's right. You got a whole European leader saying F you to the Constitution. That's for our leaders to do. Don't you come and disrespect our Constitution. We will disrespect our Constitution. And Candace, if you wanted the Constitution to be respected, maybe you might want to have a few of those Kamala Harris family deep dive pieces back. You know? Maybe you want to have a couple of those back. In fact, I think those are still up.
Right? Emmanuel Macron and Brigitte are saying, you know what? We don't like that podcaster in America. And we are going to launch a lawsuit that's never been launched before, an unprecedented lawsuit to impoverish her for speaking. And both J.D. Vance and Trump have not issued a statement. In fact, where are the journalists even asking them to make a statement? Okay, a state leader is speaking about your constituent and launching a lawsuit and saying you're going to impoverish them for executing their First Amendment right. Where are you? If you are Trump, the first thing you should have done, if you purport to care about America and our Constitution, as you're supposed to be the person that's defending that day in and day out, you would come out and you would say, I don't even know whether I believe that she's a man or woman. Doesn't matter, right? I didn't watch the series. Fair. He didn't watch the series. He could even say, like he said to me on the phone, that I looked at her real close on the Eiffel Tower and it looked like a woman to me. Okay, you can say all those things, but you should say it's unacceptable. I'm a leader of this country. It is unacceptable that this leader would threaten the First Amendment in any way.
I'm sorry, Candace. Are you calling Trump a hypocrite? Are you accusing him of being a hypocrite? Because you want him to defend the First Amendment abroad. He's not even protecting it here. He's not even protecting it here. What are you talking about? What is like, it's crazy. It's almost like the kind of person who would go in and complain about LeBron talking about black rights because he's living this extravagant world, post her extravagant life, and then claim she ain't got it. You expect us not to remember the things that came out of your mouth? Come on. I wouldn't be surprised if she just changed all of her profile photos to that one from the NAACP lawsuit. You know what I mean? I just changes. Just start limping around. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if she went. She out here claiming broke like me when I walk in trying to certify my benefits. Like that's when I had to go in and get my unemployment extended, she putting on that whole act. I know that act.
We don't need Pam Bondi rushing to issue a statement about a college male that's been shoved by a student for wearing an IDF shirt, okay? We don't need the federal government getting involved on something so meaningless. But we might need our federal government when it comes to this, okay? The job of the federal government is to defend us against foreign invaders. And I would pretty much say Emmanuel Macron right now is being a foreign invader. But no, they're silent. They are silent. And that's a pretty loud silence right now. Because if I remove myself out of the situation, it is crazy that Trump has been silent on this matter, especially after Emmanuel Macron flew and tried to get Trump to shut me up. He knows what Emmanuel Macron is doing and how desperate he is to do it. So why is he allowing this attack on our speech? It's crazy.
So apparently, I might have had this all wrong, because I think what I am coming to the conclusion and listening to her that she has no idea who Donald Trump is, apparently. You know what I mean? Because I was wondering what kind of person would be out here spending her time with the litany of dangers that were on the horizon all last year during the campaign. What kind of person would spend her time doing deep dives on Kamala Harris's family, the relevance of that? She really just has no idea who Trump is, because if there's one thing that we've seen from him, he is self-interested and he reacts to flattery. You done did a whole turn on Trump, rightfully so, but a little too late when it comes to the transfer of power. That was convenient. You done did a whole turn on Trump, and now you want him to come. Now you want him to come and protect your free speech like he did for Colbert. Is that what you want? Like he did for Colbert and Bud Light and Jaguar and all the other people that he attacks on a regular. Is that what you want?
Go fuck yourself! Go fuck yourself! Go fuck yourself!
And speaking of silence, because you were talking about it's crazy that somebody is silent on this. Speaking of silence, because I've been noticing this whole back and forth that you got with Nick Fuentes, you guys tweeting back and forth, because he did drop that bomb on you. He dropped the bomb on you, baby. He dropped the bomb on you. He went on gold top. See, I noticed a silence in the days since, when there's been this movement, which you no doubt were in the center of, to push back against all the things that Nick Fuentes has been saying, but there's been some silence about what he pulled out about Milo and what he said about your husband, because you're cool with the dude who said you had a gay husband. Guess what? You can hate what the state of Israel does, and you can hate this. Wow. We got, how do you have a gay husband and still dress like this? Wow. I want to make something clear, Candace. When I said your husband was gay, I wasn't looking at him. I was looking at you. Wow. At the Daily Wire, Candace was waxed, tweezed, plucked, and together, on course to maybe one day be as big as a network anchor in her own way, despite her obvious mental and emotional shortcomings, plus obviously the Loco for Cocoa Puffs Ice B vibe from having a gay husband. And then Candace is a wealthy woman who could have done anything and had anything. Her marriage made almost anything possible for her, but she has a fatal flaw that resurfaces anytime she's operating without strong male oversight. She doesn't know she's stupid. Wow. Wow. Yeah, that's your mans. That's your mans. That's who you are now teaming up with to go against, you know what I mean? That's bad. That is bad. Huh? You want me to defend you? You want to let me design them t-shirts? All right, maybe. I think about it. I'm waiting for friends to get back to me on the investigative thing. Yeah. Because I'm telling you, I'm learning new things every day. Because that clapback at Nick Fuentes, that didn't work at all. In fact, that's just done got worse.
Peter Thiel, the FBI informant and CIA contractor, Elon Musk, the defense contractor and PayPal mafia member with Peter Thiel, close confidant of David Sachs, and J.D. Vance, who brokered the David Sachs fundraiser with Silicon Valley and Trump, mentored by Peter Thiel, mentored by David Frum, who worked for Bill Kristol with Tucker Carlson. Thiel, Musk, and Tucker lobbied Trump to pick Vance, and they said, if you don't, the CIA will kill you. Well, who's the CIA? Who does the CIA, NSA, FBI, DHS, who do they all contract with? Palantir, founded by Peter Thiel and Alex Karp and Joe Lonsdale, Israel First Jews that after October 7th flew their board to Israel and provided them with facial recognition technology to Palestinians. J.D. Vance, who upon becoming the VP nominee in his first interview said, we're going to bomb Iran, who went to the Quincy Institute and said, we need a pro-Israel spin on America first. Tucker, who interviewed Vance 46 times on his show, Vance hired his son. Vance's Rockbridge Network was the spawning point of 1789 Capital, founded by Rebecca Mercer and Claire Monster Chris Buskirk, which gave Tucker $15 million. Rebecca Mercer funded Steve Bannon at Breitbart that spawned Milo Yiannopoulos' career. And Rebecca Mercer hand-selected George Farmer, Candace Owens' husband, to run Parler in 2021.
Ooh, boy, this done took a turn. It really did. It really did. But not up, Candace. It seems to never turn up these days. And that's how Pick Me ends. You hate to see it. But more than that, you love to see it. Thank you guys so much for watching the video. Don't forget to like and subscribe on your way out. And special shout out to those of you that have given me such warm feedback for the newsletter. That really means a lot because I know how hard Regina works on that. It's something we thought would add a lot of value to the channel. If you have any thoughts on additions or suggestions for the newsletter, you could hit me up at admin@reesewaters.com.
Okay, here it is. Check it out. I got it. Why don't we open up a take-in restaurant?
And if you haven't gotten a chance to check it out, you can over at patreon.com/ReesWaters. You can sign up for a free account and that will give you access to the monthly newsletter. There's also the weekly newsletter that is part of the offerings in deep water and troubled water.
If you don't want to play that way, don't play that way. Break.
Also a part of those offerings, merch discounts. Those will be coming soon, and those can be accessed either on Patreon or membership right here on YouTube. And there's some new merch that's about to hit the website. Just stay tuned. That is ReesWaters.com.
I got one more idea. Rent-a-spoons. Yeah, see, We serve them soup for free. Rent them spoons.
Is that a racist of the week? I tell you, like, I catch 3 and it's always one roaming around, you know what I mean? They reproduce like bunnies.
Congratulations!
What is it with America and racism? They just can't give it up, like apple pie and baseball and second families. I'm gonna start a new account if y'all keep playing. No, I'm serious. I'm already stacking them. You get a racist of the week, you get a racist of the week, you get a racist of the week. I'm out here making it rain like it's Magic City. But for racists,